Hey, everybody. It is Billy's Juice Plus podcast. This happens to be podcast number 50. If you celebrate those things, I think we should just a little bit. And to celebrate, Stacey, I looked it up. First podcast posted was, first of all, I got to say, love the man, honor the man, Dr. Rick Du Bois. First podcast, number one.
Yes.
That was September 23rd, 2019. September 2019. Interesting how, I don't know that this means anything necessarily, but interesting how that's about 2.5 years ago. And I think your journey with Madison started earlier than that, but it's around
2.5 years.
it's around the same time period, and it's been about 2 years in this pandemic. And so, guys, at podcast 50, we've got the one, the only, the great Stacy Whitmer on, and we're going to talk about Stacy Whitmer on looking back and looking forward. And the advice I've received in life is we can only live in the present. Like, it's impossible to live in the past and live in the future, but in our minds we do, right? We'll regret too much, or we'll desire, we'll long, we'll envy, we'll compare, we'll say, oh, if I could only be somewhere else. Yeah. But there is value in learning from the past, and there is value in vision and looking forward. So that's what we're going to do. Stacey, I'm just going to throw it out to you without a specific direction and just say, tell us a little about the last 2.5 years for you. For those who might not know your story, give us a little context.
Sure. So I am Stacy Whitmer. Like Billy said, I am born and raised Long Island, New York. If you can't tell my accent that I have here. I am a absolutely happy, fulfilled Juice Plus National Marketing Director. And I am so excited to be here. So thank you, first of all, for having me on. My journey with the Juice Plus company has been nothing short of incredible. And I think that's the best part, right? I think the best part about anything is the journey. It's not about where you end up. It's about everything that happens in between. And I'll tell you that God knew what he was doing when I said yes to this in November of 2014. He knew what he was doing, because 4 years after I said yes, and I had built to an NMD business, and I had built a beautiful, incredible team, and I had built an income, the residual income. Little did I know I was going to need that, because 4 years after I said yes, we got hit with like the worst possible thing. And before Juice Plus, I was in corporate America for 11 years. And if what had happened to us, and I'll tell you about that in a second, if that would have happened when I was in corporate America, my life would have crumbled. I would have lost my job. So God knew what he was doing when this was planted in my path. And I'm just so grateful for that. So 4 years after I said yes to this business, April 1st of 2019, actually, my niece, my sister's daughter, her name is Madison Faith, was diagnosed with an unthinkable brainstem cancer. It impacts less than 287 children a year, in fact, from the ages of 6 to the age of 9. There is no cure. There's no cure. So this was just like a tsunami came and just took out our family. That's pretty much how I felt. So the last 2.5 years have been really hard. They've been heavy. We've gone through so many phases of loss. We've gone through so many phases of fear. We've gone through so much, but my Juice Plus business has always been here. My residual income has consistently and continued to pay for my life, my Juice Plus family. I could just cry thinking about you guys right now. I mean, I wouldn't still be here without my team, sideline buddies. I mean, it's like, I don't think people truly know what our community is like until they come in and experience what true relationships and family and being 100% authentically you looks like until you're here. When you're going through the best times, they're wrapped around you, supporting you. When you're going through the hardest times, like what we just went through in the last 2.5 years, They wrap around you and support you. My Juice Plus family has carried me through the last 2.5 years. And I say that unwavering because that support is why I'm still here. I mean, life got hard. I got distracted. And this family is what has kept me in my lane, kept me on course. It's been a roller coaster, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've always said that I've served as a missionary in churches overseas for 7 years and in nonprofit organizations. I've also been in corporate America, Fortune 500, churches, etc. I think I agree. I don't know that I've ever encountered a community that is as selfless, as giving, as, if I can say this, unconcerned with the money, though there is money to be made, of course, and you've been incredibly successful. But just, I mean, because there's so many people who are helping others that don't make any money off of the people that they're helping, and they're just like, wait a second, maybe the highest value really is love. Maybe the highest value, maybe giver's gain really is a real thing. Maybe you really can't have everything in life, when that you want, when you go out and make your life all about kind of giving everything.
Sure. This community is not something I was looking for when I said yes, and that's something that I think that people, I don't think, I wasn't looking for a group of friends. I was looking for a business. I was looking for a business that was going to allow me to stay home with my kids, and a business that was going to create a residual income that I could count on. And I found that here. But in addition to that, this community has changed my life. I mean, the product is unmatched. The business is unmatched. But these people, I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? So it's like these people that have, I mean, you all have changed my life. I mean, this is where I want to be forever. Like the Juice Plus company is stuck with me forever.
We really don't know what we need.
Correct.
It is actually the truth. And a lot of the top kind of leaders and minds and people that I listen to say the number one trait of a great leader is self-awareness. And that, if it's number one, then it's a hard thing to really achieve. I mean, we all think we have self-awareness, but there's the irony, right? Like, are you self-aware to know how self-aware you are?
Yeah.
But that,
right. It can go in circles. Yeah.
And we'll never fully know what we need until, heaven or something like that, right? So we don't. And so a lot of life and navigating life and making good choices and good decisions through the pandemics, through the personal challenges, through the challenges in the business, to make the right choices, to me, is about a calling, is about kind of listening to a higher voice. I don't know if that sounds a little mystical, but how would you put it? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think whatever you believe, right? I believe in God. People believe in the universe, whatever that looks like. We are set up like things. There's no accident, right? Things don't happen on accident. We are set up in whatever path that we are supposed to be on. Yes, I 100% agree with that. And I think that it was no accident that I found the Juice Plus company when I said yes. It was no accident that 4 years later, I needed to rely on this company and this income when my niece got sick. It was no accident that it was this company, our corporate team, our sideline teams, my downline teams that locked arms with me and helped me maintain my business. There was no accident that all those things happened. That was my calling. This is where I'm supposed to be. And this is where I'm supposed to be now. It's where I was supposed to be then. And it's where I want to be in the future. My feet are planted here. I want to be here with all of you. And I want to continue to grow and impact life. I want to impact people's lives. I mean, that's what we're doing here. I mean, that's truly what we're doing here. You said something about a calling and we talked a little bit about this before too, but I think it's important that people get really clear on what they want in life. I think it's really important that people understand, like, what does good look like for you? Because what good looked like for me when I first started is different than what good looks like for me now. And that can change. And let me tell you something else. The leader I was before Madison got sick is absolutely not the leader I am now. The journey through that process when she was sick, what I learned about myself, what I learned about leadership, what I learned about people, I am a whole different human now. So what good looks like now is also very different than what it was a couple of years ago. So I think one of the things, yes, calling is everything, but then it's what you do with it and recognizing it, that it's recognizing if it's in front of you. And then once you recognize it, well, what are you going to do with that? What does good look like through that calling? Is it income? Is it impact? Is it mission? Is it building a life that you love and you're proud of? That's my thing. Building a life that I love and I'm proud of. I think calling is everything, but I do think once you find your path, getting really clear on what good looks like through that path, during that path, right? What does success look like for you in that moment? How can you own it? What is that? I think we don't answer that question a lot of times. And I think that someone asked me that question. I'll never forget it. She was a business coach and we were on the phone and I was talking about a lot of things. And she was like, stop for a second. And she said, no, we were on Zoom. I'm sorry. And she said, stop for a second. And she like looked at me in the camera and I felt her like in my soul, and she was like, what do you want? Is what she said. What do you want? And I was like, what? She said, what does success look like to you? What do you want? And if I'm going to be honest, I didn't have an answer in that moment. I didn't know. I felt like there were a lot of things that I wanted. But I also know that when you emotionally, I didn't want to give like an emotional answer. I felt like I could have emotionally responded and said something that is generic, but I wanted to take a minute and think about it. And that would have been 4 or 5 years ago. I would have answered that question very differently than I answer it now. So yeah, calling is important, but focus and knowing what good looks like and what you want is equally as important because that gets you unwavering on that path. You know what I mean?
In the last year or so, you are one of the few people in the field who got to spend a lot of time with our new CEO, Stuart Carnaghi.
Yeah.
And we all are big fans and love her.
She's great. She's
yep. But I'd love for you just to share whatever you'd like to about what you know about her, why your belief in her is so high, why your excitement for her is so high.
She's remarkable. She's remarkable. There are people, I think, like you just said, I think she felt called to be here. She has said this on so many of our leader calls, right? I'm not going to say anything that she didn't say. She chose to take this on because she saw the opportunity and she knew that with with changes and her expertise, she's been brilliant in her workspace for so long, decades, right? She's been brilliant in the workspace that she's been in. So taking that outside knowledge and all the things that she knows and bringing it to our world, which needs a good revamp. I mean, it's incredible. It's an incredible combination, right? It's an incredible combination of, finding a need and filling a need. She is looking across the spectrum at what we need as a company. How do we stay relevant? All the different things about what we do on a day-to-day, right? Our systems, our computers, our products, our market, like across the board, she's got incredible vision. And she sees what the needs are throughout those different paths, right? Throughout those different parts of our entire organization. Her vision is vast, it's strong, but her ability to deliver, right? So I think vision is great, but how you get there is different. People can have vision, but not have an action plan. She's got both. She's incredibly talented. We are beyond lucky to have someone with that kind of vision, that kind of vigor. Like her grit is there. She's strong. She's got a big personality with detailed skills that she brings to the table across the board. She's a game changer for us, for sure. I'm a huge fan.
In 25 years, you don't have to answer this question, but I will be 20, I'll be 64, 25, I'll be 69. So 65, 70. What will the Juice Plus company look like?
We are probably going to have some more products in the plant-based world, right? I think that, the first 25 years, our perfectly placed product line is exactly what we needed and exactly where we need to be. And I think that our product line, we're not going to be a dictionary of products, right? That's never going to be the Juice Plus company ever. But I do know that 25 years from now, everything's going to look very different, because like when I started 7 years ago, I didn't even have Facebook. I had like some random name on Facebook to get a coupon. My sister made me an account with my email address, So 25 years from now, I have no idea what that social platform will look like. I really can't even imagine it, because it has changed so much since Monday, and it's Thursday. You know what I mean? I don't know what that social component's going to look like. But I do know that our company is going to be relevant. We're going to have an unmatched product that is true and that continues to, just amaze people about what the power of fruits and vegetables. Everything we do is plant-based. So everything's going to continue to be plant-based is what I am envisioning. But I do know that there's a lot of really good things coming that is it's going to just continue to help us grow, because we have to stay relevant in markets that change really quickly. We don't need to do what other people do. We don't need to care what other people do. We need to focus on what's best for our market and our people. But with that comes additional conversations with maybe additional products as that happens. And I'm not saying anything the company hasn't, right? We've talked about other things. We've heard Lisa talk about some of those things at conference, and Stuart has mentioned some of those things. We need to add a few things as we go so that we continue to stay relevant and change up our market. There's one thing though, Billy, that I will tell you that will never, ever change now, 7 years ago when I started, or 25 years from now, is relationships, conversations, people. People are going to still need 25 years from now connection and conversations, so no matter what it's going to look like, we're going to have more products probably that are within that plant-based world. Our Juice Plus product is going to continue to be the leader of all things nutraceutical, right? But no matter what, the most important part of that is going to be who we are through the changes and the personal connection. Always, connection is never going to change.
I love that you said what's never going to change, because it could change, it can change, meaning there are other companies out there who have created systems that are not really dependent upon relationships. They're more dependent on the systems and the processes, right? And the marketing and the clicks and the quick decisions and the whatever else it might be. So you could become that. And a lot of companies, not in our industry and outside our industry, have become that. But I love the vision and the idea that we not only never give that up, but we double down. We double down in terms of, we're going to change the world in one way: plants in your body and maybe on your body, but plants. Yep. And we're going to change the world by doubling down in terms of the face-to-face, high touch, hear my voice relationships that we create one-on-one, one at a time. Can you go fishing for a massive fish? Can you go find a way to try to get 1,000 customers at one time? Sure. And if you do, that's great. More plants in their body. But we'll at our core always be about, and both of those feel very pure, right?
For sure.
The non-GMO, the purest plant, vine ripened, right? Just the whole
That's
thing.
never going anywhere.
And same thing with the relationships.
Yeah.
Non-GMO.
Yeah.
Vine ripened, like it takes time.
Yeah, there's nothing like that personal connection. And I think that that's like come screaming at us. Think about the last, since the whole pandemic, right? We have gone very social. Everything is social platforms, everything's social platforms. And listen, I love a good system. Don't get me wrong. I'm a systems person. I like organization. We just were talking about this. I like organization. I like systems, but there is nothing ever that's going to replace personal connection, human connection, the ability for people to care about the person they're talking to, for you to hear my voice. I say that, I mean, I've trained a lot and I say this all the time, but I feel it and I believe it in my soul. You cannot hear or feel passion on a message or through a system or through a text or through. So we're not transactional. We're never going to be transactional. We're not a transactional business. If you choose for it to be that way, sure, I guess you could make it that way. But at the core of who the Juice Plus company is, it's about relationships, it's about building them, and it's about being on a journey with them. One of the first things I say to my customers is just thank you for allowing me to be on this health journey with you. I love that I get to lock arms with you. And I love that you're listening to my voice too. I don't want it to all be just transactional. But over the course of the pandemic, we learned that people have gotten very, very isolated because that personal connection is not there. They have felt very alone, right? So many like depression, anxiety, like so much of that has gone through the roof because that personal connection isn't there. And not only is it not there, we don't know what to do with it when it is. We almost don't know how to react when people want to talk to you on the phone. We almost don't know what to do when we're face to face with someone. So no matter where we are now, 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, that's going to always be the core of our company. Always. I believe that in my heart.
We heal and we stay healthy in community, in relationship. It has to be. You've experienced that the last 2.5 years. You talked about that. That's what we need. I feel like our calling, if we wanted to sum it up in one word, is to be healers. And not that Juice Plus heals, but we know that plants, changing your diet, saying no to some things, saying yes, more yes to other things, and certainly Juice Plus being a component, but also in relationships. Yeah. Probably in my 11 years in this business, 27 years taking the product, the moments that I have most fulfilled me have been either hearing a story of what Juice Plus and just learning about the power of plants has done for your health and your family's health, and literally change people's lives because now they can live.
Sure.
And also the tears, the prayers, the hugs, the touch,
the community,
the listening that has happened, the healing that has happened in the community and the relationships. We're on a mission for the next 25 years to heal the people we encounter.
Sure. With
the tools God has given us.
Absolutely. I'm with you. And how exciting that we get to be the people that do it. I love it. I love it.
Talk to the entrepreneur, talk to, of course, the Juice Plus partner who is, I don't know if this will get out early February or late January. We're recording this January 27th, but it's 2022, it's early 2022. We are still, I guess, in a pandemic. We've certainly been in a pandemic. We are, for the most part, exhausted. I mean, I might have physical energy, but there's got to be something there, whether it's conscious or subconscious. You've been through a pandemic and more. A lot of us have been through a pandemic and more. What do you say to the people who are looking at 2022 and going, I want to be excited about this year, but I'm also kind of, I've been surprised before and I'm tired.
And I don't know what to expect. I can't do this anymore. I think our world right now is living in a lot of fear. I think our world right now, I'm going to repeat that, is living with a lot of fear, in fear and with fear, right? Those are also two very different things. And I think that the fear of something else happening. So we never fully commit to what we're doing because we're uncertain if there's going to be another ball that's going to drop. I lived there for 2.5 years. Couldn't fully commit to this because I was like, but then something happens here. I can't back out of that, where it's like, where you're in this place of uncertainty. And when you're uncertain, you can never fully commit. When you're uncertain, it almost can paralyze you in ways, right? So I feel like we've lived in this world of fear. And I think if you're looking forward into 2022, we have choices to make. I say this to my kids all the time. if something happens, I say, what is life about, boys? And they say choices. And then I ask them two questions. Was it a smart choice or was it not a smart choice? And they will either answer one or the other. That's it. Life is about choices. So the choice you're going to go into 2022 with, is it going to be a smart choice filled with dropping that anchor of fear, filled with possibility and hope and action? Or is it going to be a heavier choice with uncertainty and fear and anchors still holding you back, right? Life is about choices. I will tell you that if we can learn to drop the fear, it doesn't have to go away forever. It doesn't have to be just, oh, fear's gone. Okay. But if we can learn to just allow ourselves, and Billy, you and I have talked about this, to not emotionally attach to every high and low, right? I think what happens is, and I certainly learned this through my 2.5 years, going through the journey with my niece and my family. Oh my gosh, did I learn this? This is really when I learned this, is really through that time, is that if we can learn to not completely emotionally attach to every high and every low, and we can learn to be excited without overdoing it. We can learn to feel heaviness without overdoing it, right? We can learn to feel these things, but to feel them with gratitude and excitement, but to feel them with the sensibility of knowing there's another moment, and there's another moment, and I've got to take another step, and there's going to take another step. Because what happens is this: I think the last 2 years, pandemic has done this to people, and they've been on this roller coaster. And when you attach to the highs, as you get super excited about all these things, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to do it. We are going to 2022 is going to be our year. And then one thing goes wrong, and then bam, you are in a hole, right? And now you're like, wait, now I can't get out of this. And then something good happens. Guys, this is a roller coaster ride that you do not need to be on. And you are allowed to get off, and you're allowed to take control back and allow yourself to look forward and see the greatness that's ahead. Allow yourself to look forward and be optimistic and be excited. And when things are hard, let them be hard, feel it, but know that there's another tomorrow. There's going to be tomorrow, and we can figure it out. And when things are great, feel it and be thrilled about the greatness. But no, there's tomorrow, and we need to prepare for all the things. And if you can allow yourself to emotionally take that on in a different way and get off that roller coaster, I think 2022 is going to look very, very, very different. Katie, we were on this past weekend, right? There was this incredible event that was put on, this absolutely powerful event. And one of the speakers, her name is Katie, and she made a statement, and I actually wrote it out, and I need it to be made into like a shirt, a poster, a hat, and a sweatshirt, and like all the things. She said, don't quit in the dip. Don't quit in the dip. And I think through the pandemic, a lot of people have felt like they've been in the dip, don't quit. 2022 you can choose 2022 to be different. You can choose to allow the fear to be what it was and to just own what's next. And you don't have to don't look at don't take every moment as a high and a low, right? Don't take every moment as good or bad. Allow the day to happen, right? Be focused, be proactive with your time, be proactive with your actions and your day. And at the end of the week, how'd you do? Because, when Madison was sick and we were looking at some of what she was going through, if we looked at every day, it was torture, because some days would be great and we feel great. And then the next day would be horrendous. And we'd think, oh, and right. So that's that roller coaster that I'm talking about. But then when we looked back at the week, we were like, wait a minute, we had 4 really good days. This was a great week. So I challenge you to do the same thing. Look at 2022 with optimism, excitement. My gosh, clean the slate. This is new. Allow your mind to wander and get excited for what potentially this could be for you. Don't take every moment as it's so heavy and so hard or so good or so bad. allow the day to happen, and then look back and say, man, it's a good week. And good weeks turn into good months. And then good months turn into good years.
So I want to bring in a question you gave us earlier to what you just said, which is, what do you want? And based on what you just said, it sounds like the other way that a lot of us live is, what do I fear? And so we can either live in, what do I want today? And it's not about, what did I not have yesterday? What am I not having right now? Because that's more fear, compare, envy, whatever based. But what do I want in this moment? I want to go love somebody, or I want to go impact somebody. Okay, go do that in this moment. But if I'm living in, what do I fear? What do I not have? What do I lack? What do I envy? And you talked about the roller coaster, and I think if you keep going down that path, what do I fear? That's how the roller coaster gets inside of us, because then we're looking around us at the things we either fear, what could happen to me, what can I not control, what do I not have, what do I envy, social media, whatever else I see, the grass is greener. And as I look at it, it comes inside of me and it starts to rule me. And guess what? Now I'm not even asking anymore, what do I want? I'm being told what I want. And then I'm being led not by what I want and who I am and what I value and my morals, but other people's values and integrity and morals and desires.
Right. Yeah, I call that, yes, to all of those things. That's like a big thing for me. That's being reactive, right? Like, we need to look at 2022 and be very proactive in everything we do with our relationships, with our health, with our families, with the actions that we're putting in every single day. Is it moving me towards what I want, or is it moving me away from it? Right? Those are choices. If we can choose to look at 2022 as a clean slate and say, I am going to be proactive this year, and that looks like this for my relationship with my husband, this for my relationship with my kids. If we can be proactive in our lives in 2022 instead of reactive, then we take control back and fear starts to push itself away. When we are allowing ourselves to recommit to things that we love, to figure out what we want and then commit to it, fear doesn't have a place there. Fear kind of gets pushed into the back seat, where right now I think it could be in the forefront of people's minds. And that's a hard place to be. It is always a choice. It is always a choice how we move forward. And the last few days, listen, we're all human. I'm human. I had a very reactive few days. I had a lot of things happen and I was reacting to a lot of it. And I do something at the end of the night. I journal. And at the end of the night, right? So my focus in my life, if you want to know what I want to build a life that I love and that I'm proud of. That's what I want. I want to build a life that I love and I'm proud of. And what you heard me not say is, I want to make a lot of money. I want to, and we build an income here, right? I'm not saying that, but for me, what I want is building a life that I love and that I'm proud of. And at the end of every day, I write out what I've done towards that. What have I done to build a life that I love and I'm proud of? And the last few days, it hasn't been a lot because I've been very reactive. But I took a proactive approach to today and said, there are two things that I want to get done today that I know are going to move me forward. And as long as I get those two things done, then I am moving into the space and building a life that I love and I'm proud of. And it's a question I ask myself every night. Because here's what I know too, Billy, is that what I want and who I am right now, I'm not the person that can own that goal yet. I have to grow into that person. And as I'm building that life, as I'm doing the things internally with myself, self-development, the work that I put in every single day with my team, with my relationships, in my business, that is me building brick by brick into the person that can own the goals that I have for my life, because that person is not me yet. I can't own that goal yet. I got to build to that. I've got to be proactive in my approach. I've got to create an action plan. I've got to work towards it. So I think if we all in 2022 can just look at our lives, look at our business, let's look at our business and say, what do I want? Get crystal clear on what that is. Put an action plan in place to commit to it, and then work towards becoming the person that can own that goal every single day. If we can do that, then we all win.
And I think one thing that I've consistently seen in 27 years of customer, 11 years in the business, in this community, is that the people who stay, what they want, it sounds very much like what you said, a life I love and can be proud of. Kurt Beavers always talks about making a life, not just a living. And in that, he's not saying a living like I want to make enough money to have a life. He's saying, no, I want to create a life I'm proud of, that I love, whether it's a lot of money or a little money. And that is consistent in this community. And I think if you're out there, you're listening and you're saying, okay, I want to apply this to my life. What do I want? I think it's fair to say, or at least I'm going to say it. It could be right or wrong. Maybe I'll change my mind later, but that you're headed in the right direction if you come up with an answer that you can accomplish today. And what I mean by that is if you say, well, what I want is this position, or this income, it's not bad to set goals. But if that's your highest value, if that's your deepest desire, first of all, you really can't control that. The Bible says that we can plant, we can water, only God can make things grow, right? But if it's a life I love and I'm proud of, you might not be proud of the last 5 minutes. You might not be proud of the last 5 days, 5 years, but in the next 5 minutes, you can call somebody and say, I'm sorry. You can call somebody and say, I was thinking about you. I love you. You can go visit a friend. You can go volunteer at a whatever. You can go search. If you don't know where to volunteer, find a place to volunteer. And you can say, today is the day I decided that what I want is what really matters.
That's it. That's it. I mean, literally, I think that, and that boils down to what? Choices. It boils down to choices. What do we choose? What do we choose to do with then what we want? The one thing though, that I will tell you is, and I've been there, I'm sure you have too, that place of uncertainty, where you're like, I do think I want this, but I think I want this too, and this, and this, and this, and that, right? And now you feel like you're like the jack of all trades and the master of none, right? That's like one of my favorite quotes, where you want to do all these things, and then you're pissed because it's not working. There's a quote that I read that's like, and I'm going to put it in my words, so just know that, I'm going to use my words. Don't be pissed about the results that aren't happening because of the work that you're not doing. Right? Don't be upset by what's not changing in your business because you're not doing anything to change it. Don't be upset by the life that's not being built the way you want it to if you're not doing anything to build the life that you want. Right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's about choices. And we can choose to stay where we are and nothing's ever going to change. But I think we're better than that. I believe that we are all one conversation away from breakthrough in our business. We are one decision away from changing our health forever. We are one conversation away from changing the health of someone else forever. And that becomes a choice. And I just think if we can look at our what's coming up in 2022 and beyond and take control back of what we can control, and that is how we show up. That is the conversations we have. I call it 3 C's: conversations, consistency, connections, conversations, and consistency. If we can continue to make connections, continue to have conversations, and we do it consistently, we are going to move that needle. But we have to make a choice to do it. And I believe that everybody is right there. Everybody is at that brink, that breaking point. They just have to keep going. A phrase I use all the time is stay in your lane. There is so much greatness ahead. And you have the support of the world around you to get to wherever you want to in this life, because our community is incredible within our businesses, of course. But so many people in our community have changed my life outside of our businesses as well. Like if whatever your needs are, there's someone in our community that probably can meet them. So don't hesitate to reach out and ask, but lean in this year. We need you. The world is looking for health and hope. We just are. The world is looking for you, for your story, to hear your message. You are one conversation away from changing someone's life forever, and yours. You choose to have that conversation or not. And then it's time, right? It's time.
Yeah, I want to take up on that one conversation. And you said the connections, the commitment, the consistency. I don't, when somebody says to me, what do you want? I don't know exactly what my words would be, but I'll throw out, I want to be faithful to the calling every day. And, there's multiple callings in life, dad, father,
Sure.
Tell people that plants can heal and protect. But it is about a conversation every day, And so I carry these business cards in my pocket, and every time I interact with somebody out there in the world, I think to myself, there's a good chance they've never heard of Juice Plus.
Sure.
There's a chance they either need it now. I mean, everybody needs it now, but there's a chance they either know they need it now because something's happening in their life or a relative's life, somebody's life. They're like, how do we get more plants in our body? Because we need an alkaline environment because we've got this horrible thing happening to us. Like, we need it now. Or there's a better chance they don't realize they need it now, but they will need it at some point. So what I've started doing months and months ago was handing out this business card, challenging myself to do it to pretty much everybody I encounter. I don't always, but certainly if I don't have anybody behind me in line and I'm buying something, there's a human there. There's a person there. They're not just a worker. They're not just a nameless person. They're not just an object. I want to objectify them. I want to humanize them. And I humanize them by pulling this card out and going, and I do it scared, even though I'm like, I go, have you ever heard of Juice Plus? And by the way, when they say, and most of them say no, I usually say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I get to be the first person ever in your whole life to tell you Juice Plus. Like, I'm so excited. This is wonderful. Like, you mean I get to be the first? Like, you'll remember though this face. Like, the day you eventually, you'll probably never buy this from me. And that's what it comes down to. It's not about them buying it from me.
No.
It's about changing the world. It's about health and hope. It's about healing, but we can't do it if we don't have the conversations. And one day I might hand this to one person who desperately needed it. It changes their life. I never hear about it, but because I shared, that's why it happened.
Period. End of discussion. Our product is a game changer. There's one story that I want to say, and I don't, and then I want to you finish up however you want.
Yeah, that's a good way to wrap up. Yeah, go for it.
This is a great story. And this, I hope, lights a fire under your tush, whoever is watching this right now, to make sure that you leave no stone unturned. I was at an event. We did a big house event 4 years ago, at least it was 4 years ago. One of my sales coordinators, it was her event. I was there to support because that's what we do. And we're sitting there, it was a room of 15 women. And through two of them were on the product, and one of them was the person whose house we were at. And as we're sitting there and I'm doing the whole thing about what it can do and our immune systems, and I'm going through all the beautiful things that our product can do, right? And there's a woman sitting next to the girl whose house we were at in tears. I just got chills. I can't, this story is so real. It's crazy. And she's in tears. I mean, like, not like wiping, like crying. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Is everything okay? So now I stop, right? Is everything okay? Did I say something to offend you? Like, what happened? And she looked at her friend. This doesn't give you chills. You're not human. She looked at her friend and said, you know how hard the last 6 months have been for my family. We have been so sick, and we have been like, I've lost work. We're losing income. Things have been so hard. And I cried to you every morning for 6 months. And you never, ever told me that you've been taking something that's changed your health. She said, I don't know how I'm going to get over this. She got up and she left. She got up and she left. Now, I tracked her down and she's still a customer to this day. But what I will tell you is this. She was not happy with the fact that her very good friend had a solution to a problem that she had. And her friend knew she had this problem, but she never told her. Do not be the person that doesn't tell someone because you're too proud. Someone else's opinion has no bearing on your life. Choose to be brave. Choose to be bold. Choose to go out there and tell everybody, because you never know when someone's going to need it. And if someone is crying for help, give them help. If someone isn't crying for help, offer them an opportunity to hear about a solution they might not even realize they need. At the end of the day, we have choices. And I hope, Billy and I hope, the Juice Plus community hopes that you're brave every single day and that you commit to offering up this health and this hope to people all over the world, because it's up to us to do it. It's our responsibility to do it. It's our responsibility to share and make sure nobody leaves a house, nobody leaves anywhere upset because they weren't told about it. It's so important that we share it with everybody.
What you just said made me think, am I scared about how a conversation will impact me? Or am I excited about how a conversation could impact somebody else?
100%. 100%. Yeah, it's powerful.
I want you, that story is fantastic to end on, but I'm going to give you one last word to wrap us up. There's people out there who've heard all this. They've been through the pandemic. Even without the pandemic, it was already hard to be an entrepreneur.
Sure.
Don't want to sell to my family and friends. You just gave a fantastic story about why to do that. But they're sitting there and they're like, I want this. I want this. And I'm not talking about national market director, a lot of money. I want to live unapologetically. I want to live fulfilled. I want to want a life I love and I'm proud of, not what all the Instagram stories tell me I should want. Last word that you would speak to that person.
Don't quit in the dip. I mean, this it's bigger than us. This is bigger than us. And I think that we can, someone said this to me a couple of years ago, and it's something I think about every day. We can think about our businesses so much and never actually do anything for our businesses. We can think about doing it and we're exhausted at the end of the day, but then when we sit down, what did we actually do? So I will tell you that if you have a vision of wanting to impact more people, then you need to set yourself up to impact more people. And that's having conversations. I know this sounds silly, but that is what you can do. That is a controllable. Let's take control back where we can. And having conversations is one step that you can take today to push yourself to the next step. And then maybe right now, one conversation is all you've got in you today. That's okay. Because then guess what? Tomorrow, have one more conversation. Speak boldly, even if your voice shakes. That is a quote I love. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but I promise when you write in your journal that night, what did I do to move my business? What did I do to build a life that I love and I'm proud of today? That one conversation is going to be on that list. And the next day that conversation is going to be on that list. So I want you to think about that. What are the actions that you can put into your day that is going to move you forward in building a life that you love and that you're proud of? Because that is yours to do. Not mine, not Billy's, not your upline, not your downline. That's yours.
Stacy Whitmer, you're a treasure. Thank you so much. Podcast number 50. I appreciate it.
So happy to help.
Everybody be blessed.
Bye.